Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to Outdoors with Geoff. Before we light the coals for today's cook, take a minute and hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you can be notified of any new content that comes to the channel. What's up barbecue crew? Welcome back to Outdoors with Geoff. Today we're not going to necessarily be outdoors with Geoff. I guess you could say we're indoors today. We're going to be putting together and assembling the Char-Griller flat iron premium griddle. And I want to give a special thanks to the folks at Chargriller that sent this out to the channel so that we could get some new and exciting griddle cooks for you guys. Enough talking, let's get to the setup. So Chargriller states that you need a hammer, Phillips head screwdriver, 7/16 nut driver, and pliers for this assembly. Here I'm just going ahead and unboxing the items. You can see we have the instructions there and some shelf supports. And we have the bottom shelf here that the propane tank goes on. That piece is the front fascia, and here's the griddle cover and the actual griddle top itself. And this weighs about 80 pounds. And next we have the wind guards for the side and back. And this right here is the actual main burner unit for the griddle itself. And this smaller box contains other parts and hardware. Here we're starting with step one, and we're putting the wheels on the bottom shelf of the unit. When doing this, be sure and look at the diagram and be sure and line up your wheels, because your turning wheels actually go on the right side of the unit. Also, the brake wheel goes on the right rear of the unit. Now, because of the metal lip that's at the bottom of this piece here, you're going to have to use your screwdriver. You can't fit that 7/16 nut driver on the bottom to tighten those down, so be sure and hit it good with your screwdriver. And here we're going on to the second step of part one, and we're going ahead and getting the magnetic base for the door screwed in, and it's 2 screws that go into part number 27, which is going right down there on that bottom shelf. Now for step 2, we're just putting on the sides of the cabinet, and that's going to take 4 screws and a washer on each side. So 4 screws and 4 washers. It helps if you already go ahead and thread them in the holes, and just go ahead and get them in with a screwdriver at first and repeat with the other side. And on this one you can actually fit the 7/16 driver in, so you can come back in and tighten those up afterward. Now step 3 involves installing the back brace, which is part number 16. Don't do like I did and accidentally miss it, because when you try and put it in, you're going to have to use a little bit of force if you do miss it. But it's 5 screws that go in that you tighten this down with. Now step 4 involves installing this front fascia that has the upper magnets for the doors, and it's pretty easy to tell which way this is supposed to be installed. You have 8 screws which you have to put in here, and I'm going ahead and threading a couple of these screws in so I can go ahead and get the other screws placed in as well. And when installing these screws here, be sure to alternate so you don't get any holes out of alignment when you try to finish your last screw. Now for step 5, we're going to install these brace supports, and this attaches to the side wall and the bottom shelf of the unit, and they're installed with 4 screws that are letter A, and they just go into the side and the back, and you can screw it in and then come back with your 7/16 nut driver and just get it tightened down. Now for step 6, we're going to install the utility and condiment shelf on the unit, and this goes right in the front. It has 4 holes, and you're going to use 4 letter A screws and 4 letter C nuts to install this piece here. And a good bit of advice, it helps if you use your screwdriver and your nut driver in conjunction to get these really tightened down here. For step number 7, we're going to install the door pins in the bottom of the utility cart, and you just screw the threaded side in on the left and right side at the bottom. And the door pins at the top have a spring in it, so you can easily install the doors by just putting it into the hole on top of the lower pin and then pushing up the top pin and sliding the door in so it will latch. For step number 8, we're going to sit the burner unit on top of the cabinet. Make sure you get the burner unit in between the 4 tabs and you get that lined up, and then you come back with 4 letter A screws and you insert the screws and go ahead and get them threaded on each side. For step number 9, we're going to install the grease channeling system, and make sure the angled side is installed toward the outside of the grill and just insert it into the hole. For step 10, we're going to install the griddle and the griddle cover onto the cabinet, and you have 4 holes and 4 pegs that you have to line up, and it would help if you had a second person with this, but it is manageable with 1 person as long as you sit it on there securely, and then you can line up the pegs to go into the holes and then give a solid push back to lock it into place. For step number 11, we're going to install the handle, and you just take off the attached wing nut and lock nut and washer and make sure you put them back in the correct order and just tighten them down. For step number 12, we're going to install our wind guards, and the larger back wind guard goes on with 3 screws. For the side wind guards on both sides, you're going to have to loosen the front set screw that's already installed, and don't take it out, just loosen it. And you're going to take the other smaller screw, which is G, and use that in the middle to install both of your wind guards. And do not tighten those set screws on the front back up yet. You have another step that you need to complete beforehand, but go ahead and tighten up the middle screw so that your wind guard will be secure in place. So for step 13, we're going to install these brackets on the grill, and you can tell that the flat part goes toward the outside of the grill on the front, and the same thing on the back. So you need to install the 4 screws, one of them which is your set screw, so an additional 3 screws on each side, and you go ahead and put that in, and you put your brackets on, and then you can go ahead and tighten it down. Keep in mind, when you are standing facing the grill, brackets number 11 go on the left side and brackets number 12 go on the right side. And here we repeat on the other side, and we go ahead and tighten all our screws down. These brackets are going to hold up the shelves. For step 14A, we're going to insert screw B into the bottom hole of each bracket, and we're going to come back and secure it with nut C, and we're going to come back and tighten that up with a 7/16 socket. Now you need to be cognizant of where these holes are here on the shelves, but on the left side we're going to install shelf 44 onto the brackets, and we're going to take another screw B and go ahead and hand thread that through and come back and install the nut C behind that. And we're going to do the same thing on the front side, and then we're going to come back and tighten that up with a 7/16 socket. We're going to repeat the same process on the right side of the grill with part number 13, which is the other shelf, and this one is distinguishable because it has the magnetic bar on the right side of it. For step 14C, you're going to take the 3 utensil hooks, which are part J, and insert them into the holes on the shelf on the left side. And for step 15, remove the screw that is underneath the shelf on the left side, and you're going to insert part number 43, which is the paper towel holder, into the bracket, and you're going to replace the screw to secure it into place. For step 16A, you're just going to put on the 4 burner control knobs. And for step 16B, we're going to install the AA battery into the igniter, and just unscrew the igniter and insert the battery with the positive side facing out towards you. And for step 17, we're just going to insert part 45, which is the grease drip tray, into its track. And this is what we look like when we're complete. Okay, so we're done with this assembly. I really like some of the features I've seen on here with the paper towel holder and the magnetic tool holder on the side. Those things are really going to come in handy. Thanks for watching, and leave a comment and let me know what you thought. All right, guys, thanks for watching this episode of Outdoors with Geoff. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon for notifications when more content comes out, and also check out these videos here on the channel as well.